Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Chantal Cote, and today I'm going to learn how to skateboard and do a trick. And this is Andy Kapelansky, and he's going to teach me how to do all this stuff. First, I think, are we doing which foot I lead with?
Yep, so we're going to go over a couple things today. We're going to go over stance, we're going to teach you how to push, we're going to go over safety, and we're also going to teach you some basic tricks. First thing we're going to do is figure out what kind of stance you stand in. Now there's two different types. There's goofy and there's regular. So we're going to figure out what stance Chantal is. And to do that, you're going to need a friend. So if you don't have that by now, that's the first step to skateboarding, is find a friend. So what I'm going to do to figure out Chantal's stance is I'm going to push her. Notice how her right foot went forward. That's the board. That's the foot that's going to be planted on the board, and she's going to push with her left foot. So therefore, Chantal is a goofy skateboarder. And you might be saying, "I thought Chantal was a really serious person. I didn't think she was goofy." It has nothing to do with that. There's just two different types. If I'm going this way, this means I'm goofy. Okay. Now notice how I'm switching up now. This would be a regular skateboard habit. Kind of catch my drift? If you're goofy, your right foot's going to be on the board and you're going to push with your left foot. If you're regular, your left foot's going to be planted on the board and you're going to push with your right foot. Now that we know our stance, the next step in the skateboarding process is to warm up. You don't want to have any tight muscles, you want to loosen up. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to show you some stretches that we can do for you to optimize your skateboarding experience. First off, we're going to stretch out our upper legs. So if we just pull up here, that's a great stretch. Get your upper leg stretched out. Also, we're going to want to go the other way to stretch the other side of your leg, this way. If you can't keep your balance, put your butt up against the wall and do it like that. This is highly recommended to skate so you don't tighten up in the middle of skateboarding and drop. Also, we're going to want to stretch out our calves. So just go down. Basic stuff, just basic leg stretches, all that kind of stuff, and also get your core a little loosened up too. Just kind of, you know, loosey loose, you know. Now that we're all warmed up, we're stretched out, we're ready to go to the next step, which is safety. Now safety is highly recommended to beginners, although it is not required to skateboard. The first thing we're going to do is put on a helmet. Don't neglect your noggin. You need this to skateboard and you need this to do other things, I'm pretty sure. The next thing we need to put on is knee pads. Our knees are protected now, but we have some other joints that we need to protect. For example, our elbows. Head covered, knees covered, elbows covered. What else could we possibly have to cover? Our wrists. You thought a watch was the only thing that could make your wrists look cool, but now we're all set up. We've got our helmet, we've got our knee pads, we've got our elbow pads, and we've got our wrist pads, and we're looking good at the same time. We're protected and stylish all at the same time, and that's the goal we're aiming for here. So now that we're all protected, I'm going to show you guys how to fall and how to not fall. I'm going to show you how to not fall first actually. So let's say we hit a rock. That will stop your wheels all the way and you're just going to fly forward. Force of inertia, it happens. So this is how you don't want to fall. Notice how I didn't distribute my weight properly. I just fell straight onto everything. We need to disperse this weight, and to do that we need to bend when we fall. So notice how I put my foot on first, knee, hip, and then my arm. If you could see that, you'll understand. And I'm not protected, so this kind of hurts. Chantal's going to have no problem with this. Next, we're going to learn how to push. Notice how when Chantal pushed me right there, my knees were locked. I'm more likely to fall when my knees are locked. Bending is very important when it comes to skateboarding. You don't ever want to be in a locked knee position. You always want to be like this. So go ahead, give me another push. Let's see. See how I can kind of compensate for that push that you gave me, and I'm right back to my center of gravity. You want to find your center of gravity when you're skateboarding, because that's going to be your neutral zone. That's where you want to be before you do a trick, after you do a trick, while you're pushing, while you're cruising, everything. You want to be in this position. Not too far down, it might be a little hard to control, but I guess it depends on how fast you're going. Moving on to pushing. We determined that Chantal is goofy. I'm goofy as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to have our foot right in the center of the board, a little bit further up actually, not directly in the center, with a slight angle so you kind of have a feel for the board. So we have our right foot on the board. Next what we're going to do is we're going to push with our left foot. So give that a shot, Chantal. There are other variations to the push. The one I just showed you is the way that you want to learn how to do it. If you're just starting to skateboard and it feels more comfortable to push with this foot, with your foot in the back rather than the center, you're pushing Mongo, and that's looked down upon throughout the skate community. You want to, if you are just starting, start the right way, because once you learn how to push like this, you're never going to be able to get out of it. Learn to push the right way. Don't push like this. Because when you push it like this, your board is going to keep on doing that. You want your board to be on the ground until you're ready to do a trick. Now that we know how to push, we're going to move on to some basic tricks. The first basic trick I'm going to show you is a manual. This doesn't require to get your whole board off the ground. 2 wheels are going to be up, 2 wheels are going to be in contact with the ground. So to do this, we're going to be in our same position like we were in our pushing. This is where we're at right now. A manual is just when you lift your front wheels up and balance like that when you're going past. So it kind of looks like this. A manual requires you to find your center of gravity. And a manual is a great trick to start out with because you can do it standing still. You don't have to be moving to do it. I would highly recommend to start out doing a manual that you try it on carpet or on cement. Just kind of. So you could do a manual talking on the phone. That's how you can practice. I would highly recommend that you practice doing a manual because there's so many tricks that you can do into a manual. And then once you get better at manuals, you can learn how to do things like a nose manual. The next trick we're going to talk about that's basic and easy to learn is a tic-tac. And I'm not talking about freshening your breath. What we want to do now is figure out where you're going to go, make sure you have a lot of room in front of you, and basically what we're going to do is put our feet on both ends of the board, left foot, right. You might not go very far the first time you do it, but you keep practicing it and you'll be able to tic-tac along like you were better at that than you were at walking. Now that we know how to tic-tac, instead of having our board like this and starting out, let's move it like this. So you're parallel with where you want to go. I'm not sure what this trick is called, but it will definitely increase your balance. So let's do it. Basically you just twist, twist again, twist again, twist again, twist again, twist again. You might get dizzy, so make sure that you're sober when you do it so you don't vomit everywhere. Maybe this one doesn't like it. The next trick we're going to learn is the ollie. This is single-handedly the most important trick to learn in skateboarding if you want to do any other tricks besides that. It's a foundation for kick flips, for shove-its, any flip trick, any grab trick, you need to know how to ollie. An ollie is simply jumping on your board. And in my opinion, the ollie is the most fun trick that you can learn. And I know how to do a handful of tricks, but ollie is still my favorite. Basically all you're doing is jumping on the board. To do that, all we're doing here, we're in our normal stance, our goofy stance. All we're doing, we're popping with our back foot at the end like this. We're scraping our right foot up on the top of the board. It'll be your left if you're skating regular. And then we're basically pushing our force this way when we jump. You have to do it quickly, so it's like this. Steady while you're doing it. So what I'd recommend for a beginner is to grab some carpet, which doesn't really sound like natural, but we have it here and I can grab it, so I'm going to put it down right here. If you have carpet in your basement, for example, that's another great place to practice. This will allow you to try the ollie without rolling back and forth. So let's give it a shot, Chantel.
Okay. So back foot's completely back on that end.
Yep.
And then this is like in the middle.
Start it a little bit further back. Here we go.
In the middle. Okay.
Yep. You're gonna pop that side first, then scrape that foot up.
Okay.
So once you get your foot to the top, simply balance yourself out again so you land with your center of gravity parallel with the ground. We're getting there. We're making progress, and that's only our second ollie that we've ever tried. I would say 1,000 ollies, and you got it down. Or 1,000 tries. There we go. That was good. So what have we learned today? We learned how to find out what stance you should stand in when you're skateboarding. We learned the necessary precautions to take and safety gear to wear when you're skateboarding. We learned how to push skateboarding, and we also learned how to do some basic tricks. And I'm glad that all of you could join us today for this fine evening, and I hope that you have a wonderful day and a wonderful time skateboarding. Because one thing that you should know about skateboarding, and you'll learn from trying it, is when you fall, you get back up. And that applies to every aspect in life, and everybody should know that.